You're listening to India Bio Speaks, your one-stop resource for science, news, and careers.
Hello and welcome to today's podcast. This is a part of our International Grants Awareness Program, or IGAP for short. This initiative was born out of a desire to increase the number of Indians seeking and acquiring international funds. We do so by 1. Spreading awareness of international funding schemes by creating resources with the funding agencies. 2. Imparting skills to craft a successful application via workshops and other skill-building resources. And 3. Inculcating the confidence to apply by sharing access to a network of Indian mentors. We bring these resources to you in a variety of ways, such as webinars, podcasts, workshops, informational articles, etc. Now, let's
Welcome everybody. I am Zille Anam, a final year PhD graduate student at Jawaharlal Nehru University and a science communicator. As I am nearing the completion of my doctoral degree, I am at the crossroads of looking for postdoctoral fellowships that not only provide exciting new learning opportunities, but also add a sparkle to my CV. Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions is one of the top-notch fellowships that completely fits the bill. What better way to discuss this than to hear from some successful awardees themselves and get first-hand advice and tips and tricks for success. Today, I virtually sit together with 2 Marie Curie Fellows, Dr. Amey Vedkar and Dr. Mahipal Ganji, with whom I will discuss various aspects of the fellowship and their personal experience as Marie Curie Fellows. Welcome, Amey and Mahipal.
Thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here on this platform and share my thoughts.
Thank you for the introduction. I'm glad to be here. I hope to provide some useful information to the listeners.
Mahipal and Amey, let's begin at the start with your journeys from being a master's student in India to Marie Curie Skłodowska Action Fellow, which I will henceforth refer to as MSCA Fellow in Europe. Can you walk us through this journey? Mahipal?
I did 2 masters. So the first master's was in physics from Osmania University in Hyderabad. And then I did another master's that was from TU Dresden in Germany. The second master's was in nanobiophysics. From there, I moved to the Netherlands where I did my PhD in TU Delft. That was more interdisciplinary science, working on single molecule biophysics. And then I also did a short postdoc there within the same department where I did my PhD. Now I'm a Marie Curie Fellow in Max Planck Institute for Biochemistry in Munich, Germany.
And what about you, Amey?
So my academic career started in India at the University of Pune, where I did my Masters of Botany in Plant Science. Thereafter, I decided to do a 2 years research experience as a junior research fellow at one of the research institute. Following that, I actually applied to a DAAD PhD fellowship, where I was successful in getting a position at the Max Planck Institute for Terrestrial Microbiology in Germany, where I did my PhD for 3 years. After my PhD, I decided to pursue a postdoctoral research in England and hence joined the Sainsbury Lab in Norwich with a EMBO postdoctoral fellowship. So following my research stay in Norwich, I actually decided to apply for an MSCA postdoctoral fellowship and currently an MSCA fellow at the University of Cordoba in Spain.
Thank you for sharing your journeys. Could you tell us how you decided to apply for this particular fellowship? What about it appealed to you in specific?
Since my PhD, I was fortunate to have a multidisciplinary training in different European research institutes where I was impressed about the infrastructure and the research facilities and the opportunities for networking across these dynamic labs in my research field. And hence, I actually decided to try developing my own research line by applying for an MSCA fellowship.
And what about you, Mahipal? Were the aspects that drew you to the MSCA fellowships the same as Ames?
First, I wanted to get an experience of writing a fellowship and managing the grant myself. Second, I thought of having my own fellowship gives me more freedom to explore my research interests. Moreover, you see, you're around you have your friends working for writing for different grants, and then you also get motivated. That also motivated me to write this particular fellowship actually.
This is really inspiring. Now that both of you are the benefiters of MSCA fellowship, what do you think that this has meant for your postdoctoral career so far?
It really helped me to attend conferences where I could actually network with the scientists from India who are actually like sort of recruiters in the institutes, right, where I wanted to go. So when it came to applications, like having the fellowship in my CV, I think actually gave me an upper hand, like gave me a recognition, basically. That's what I mean.
Amey?
I agree with all views mentioned by Mahipal. In addition, I'm currently in my transition from postdoc to PI position, and hence I think that this fellowship has allowed me to lay a foundational path to create my own niche in academia in the years to come.
Being one of the most top-notch fellowships, Marie Curie or MSCA fellowship are highly competitive with a success rate of 10 to 20%. I'm very curious to know what have been your challenges while applying and how did you overcome them?
For me, the biggest challenge was to lay down the key idea for the project proposal. Initially, I had a completely different idea of doing like project for my postdoc research, but then I quickly realized that my host PI is not an expert in that field. So I and my host PI sat together, had several Skype calls and discussed what can be done, like, sort of together. So we came up with a project plan. That was actually the major issue. Once we had that one, then like basically writing and then taking the feedback, like, back and forth between my host PI and also from my colleagues. So that helped me a lot. It also helped me to get the feedback from grant managers in my institute, also in my host lab institute.
So Amey, were your challenges the same or different as Mahipal's?
For me, the biggest challenge was to draft the impact as well as implementation section of the Marie Curie proposal. I feel that everyone is good at their own science. However, these areas of the proposal are also equally important. Certainly, it's also advantageous to have feedback from someone outside your research area to get an impression of how strongly your idea and vision percolates to a general audience, which is extremely important in any Marie Curie proposal.
One of the challenges that I feel personally is finding the right host lab. It is one of the most crucial factors, not only for one's application, but also for overall career progress. Can you tell us how you approached your present PIs and came up with a proposal that aligned with both of your interests?
I met my PI at a conference wherein I discussed my interest to initiate a research team to build my future lab. Upon discussing, we came up with a topic that was of high interest to both of us and which would allow me space to emerge independently. This is how I actually found my host lab, where I am currently pursuing my MSCA project.
I have attended a presentation from my host PI earlier, and I thought his science was interesting. When it came to applying for postdoc positions, I was thinking of going to a lab where I can cash on my previous experiences while gaining more diverse knowledge. I contacted my PI to discuss the possibilities in his lab for a postdoctoral research. And when we met together, we were both excited to work together on the common interest.
Wow, this means we have to be open and always ready. In terms of inclusivity, what kind of possibilities does MSCA provide to its applicants? For example, some applicants may have a career break, age boundations, or be restricted to not so common themes for the proposals. Can you shed light on that, Mahipal?
Yeah, the fellowship has no age limit, but I suggest the listeners to check their website for their eligibility criteria. Also, I want to mention that the duration of the fellowship can be anything from 12 months to 24 months.
In addition to the age limit relaxation, the Marie Curie Actions also has a career reintegration panel called as a CAR panel, which is specially for researchers with a career break of 12 months or more. Although this evaluation is independent of the research area, you have exactly the same benefits as that of the MSCA IF standard fellowship, and hence a great opportunity for researchers who
I would now like to shift my attention to the future. Being Marie Curie Fellows, where do you see yourselves in the next 4-5 years? Mahipal, let's hear from you first.
Well, I am actually moving to India in the coming days to start my own lab in the Department of Biochemistry in IISc, Bengaluru. So I hope to continue doing more exciting science there.
This is wonderful, Mahipal. Congratulations. As you're on the cusp of returning to India, can you think back of what being able to do research in Europe has meant for you?
So one thing I could say that the amount of independence that you get to do your research was really different than I think what you can do in India. So there I could actually develop my own program line of research that helped me a lot.
What about you, Amey?
I am currently in the process of applying for PI positions. So I see myself as a group leader in the years ahead, continuing on the research foundation that I have initiated during this MSCA project. Research experience in Europe has really been enriching, making it more accessible to networking opportunities. So overall, this MSCA fellowship has given me best of both of the worlds, the European world where I am currently pursuing my research, as well as I am continuing to engage myself with the Indian science community, and India is also one of the choices of my returning back.
As the deadline for this year's call, 9th September, is approaching, what did the last mile before your application submission look like for both of you?
I would say read, and read. It is extremely important to polish your text, to have the wow factor in it for a general audience. Also make sure to coordinate your proposal well with the administration team of your institute to give you any last moment comments which are crucial in shaping your proposal.
I think it helped me to have the draft ready in advance, sort of in a week of advance, so that I could sort of like sleep on it and then start to edit again. So, and after that, I got feedback from several different people within the department where I was working. Those are my colleagues, also from my mentors, as I said previously, also from the grant managers who are like experts in sort of looking at the grants. And yeah, one thing is that I want to suggest all of you that submit your proposal well in advance. It might be that the server gets slowed down and then you could not submit if you wait until the last minute. So once you submit in advance, you can always resubmit again and again.
This is quite encouraging and helpful. What message do you have for the listeners, many of whom will be aiming to apply for the fellowship in the near future?
One thing is that communicate with your host PA in general, also for the writing proposal part. The PIs usually are very helpful. That's what I see in Europe, and they want you to be successful. So they will definitely give you useful information if there is anything that they can give you. Also, when you write your proposal, write sort of your bigger ideas, those game-changing ideas. Of course, you want to write the narrowed down proposal, but showing that you have this sort of a big idea helps the reviewers to think that you have future plans, much bigger plans than just doing the proposal that you're writing. And also, don't forget to emphasize your achievements well. That also helps them to review positively. Altogether, you want to convince the selection committee that you will be the most deserving candidate for this grant.
I second all thoughts that Mahipal just mentioned of starting early, receiving feedback, conveying your ideas well. But one particular point that I want to emphasize to all applicants is that don't be afraid to discuss with your PI to have the full right to take the work forward. Do choose your host lab wisely, because you have to integrate yourself well in a country away from home. And hence, it's very important to utilize this opportunity to the fullest.
Thank you, Amey. Thank you, Mahipal, for joining us and sharing your stories and suggestions for applying to Marie Curie Fellowship. It has been immensely helpful for me to glean these in-depth insights.
Thanks. I would be very happy to have more interaction with prospective applicants and to discuss in shaping the prospective MSCA proposals.
Thank you for interacting. Yes, the listeners are always welcome to reach me for more suggestions in shaping their fellowship application.
To all our listeners, thank you for listening. For all those who are in the process of preparing the application, I hope that you found this podcast helpful. Good luck for your applications.
Thank you for joining us today in this conversation. If you found this podcast helpful and/or are interested in more resources on international funding opportunities open to Indian life science researchers, please head over to our website and go through the other iGAP resources. And keep on the lookout for future announcements.
If you're passionate about scientific research, communication, outreach, and science education as we are, please connect and engage with us, and here are some ways that you can do so.
Visit our website at www.indiabioscience.org.
Subscribe to our newsletters.
Write for us and join our online discussion forum at discuss.indiabioscience.org.
Advertise jobs, grants and events in the life sciences on our website.
And feel free to contact us anytime at hello@indiabioscience.org.
Until next time, enjoy your science and stay engaged to enable change.